Hello and welcome back to HiFel. Tips and tricks number 6. I'm going to play around with the lights and the sounds on an HM 7000 decoder using the HM DCC app. It's dead easy. You can have lots of fun changing bits. So I'm going to take you through how you can alter your sound volumes, how you can enhance some volumes, also how you can play around with light features, alter brightness, and importantly, if you get yourself into a bit of a pickle with any of these things, how you can get everything back to how the profile originally was when you first downloaded it. So here we go, Class 66. It's the latest edition here on HiFel in terms of locomotives. We're still in the bit of a 1980s theme, although yes, the Class 66 wasn't really ever seen in that livery, but it looks great, and so I don't care, it's running. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip between the camera and a tablet that's got the, or an iPad that's got all of the HM DCC system set up on it, and I'll take you through how you can make these various different changes. So first of all, let's flip to the iPad. Okay, so here we are on what is hopefully a familiar drive screen. This is the main control panel for the HM DCC system, and if I just give it a horn, quite loud. It's also a little bit annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to change some of the volumes, and to do that, first of all, go to locomotive settings, and you want the data screen. That shows you what the global volume, so that's every sound, is set to a value of 35, and I want to knock those back so it's not overpowering as what it is, but I am going to enhance a couple. Just a word of warning with global volumes and in sound in general. The decoders are also capable of being fitted into all sorts of locomotives and all sorts of different combinations of speakers, etc. The standard speaker that comes with them is a sugar cube speaker. It has an 8 ohm impedance, so that's basically what you need to stick to, whatever type of speaker you put in there. And also the amplifier on the decoder, there is a finite amount of power that can cope with. If you are going to exceed 50, which is the maximum I've ever seen for a profile setting, then you need to start thinking about how you're going to handle that heat and power. Otherwise, you could result in causing damage to your model and also your decoder. So just be aware. I say I like 21. I find it's enough that you can hear stuff going on, but it's not so overpowering, particularly when you've got a few locos running. So we've set that to 21, but if I come to the advanced CV editor, which is this other tab on the top, and if I just scan down to these volumes here, you'll notice global volume is set to 21, but all of the others are still at 35, and it's telling me that the CVs are out of sync. Hit the refresh button, which is that rotating arrow, and that will then populate all of the values at 21. Now I said I want to enhance a couple of the volumes, and they're on the horns. I want those just to be a little bit louder than the 21 of all of the other functions. And in order to do that, all I have to do, come back down to where the volumes are, and the horns are on function 2 and 3. Volume of function 2, which is CV162, tap on that one, and then I can bring that up. I'm going to make that 25, just a little bit louder. Exit, and that's now set that one. I'm going to do the same for its partner. Function 3, exit that one. And so those two are now set. Now I can go into the advanced CV editor and refresh that, but to save time, we're just going to make another change. I'm going to show you how that one happens. So we're going to go back to the drive screen, and I'm going to pick on function 3 because there's basically 3 horn sounds in there. That's one I like. That's one I don't like. And despite liking Star Wars, I absolutely detest that. I think it sounds awful and cheesy. So I'm going to get rid of those. How can I do it? Again, really easy. Come into locomotive settings. Past where it's got the volumes, where you can come into sound selection and play mode, both for function 2 and function 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in sound selection rather, first of all, and you'll see it has a value of 7, and it might not mean anything to you. So each CV has got 8 bits, in other words 8 switches within it, or potentially. Bit 1 has a value of 1, bit 2 has a value of 2, bit 3 has a value of 4, and if it had 4 bits that would be 8, and if it had 5 that would be a value of 16 and 32. So you see it basically doubles each time, and the reason for that is that's binary, and it's a way of you programming in information, giving it an overall value, and then that says it must choose all of those pieces. In this case, the 3 sounds add up to 7, 1, 2 and 4, so therefore all 7 are available to it. So to take a sound out, all you need to do is remove the appropriate value for that bit. Now I'm going to choose number 2 to take out, so just as a demonstration. So what we're going to do is number 2 has a value of 2, so I'm going to drop that by 2, exit, back to here, and if I start the horns, so that's the one I said I liked, and it's irritating me even more, but it's still there. But the second one has gone now, it's not even on the list. So in order to save me from getting the hammer out and smashing the locomotive up, I'm now going to take number 3 out, so that's bit 3, and in order to do that I need to drop the value of that CV by a further 4, making it 1, exit. So if I now come back to this one and go, there we go, all's good. That's all it is. So the silly ones have gone. If you like those, fine, you fill your boots. I don't. So what else can we do? Well, if we come back to where the sound selection was, now I like all the sounds that are actually in function 2, but just to prove I'm not completely boring, I'm going to go, instead of playing them always in order, I'm going to go random. Check me out. There we go. So instead of it keep playing the same sound each time, it will just choose, and so you might get the same one 3 times in a row, or you might not hear it for ages. So that's how you do that. It's dead easy. So the next thing I'm going to do is flip to the phone where my camera is, and I'm going to, we'll go through lights. So that's that one done, and I'm going to pop the lights on, and then we'll switch the camera on and we'll talk about that. Okay, so here's my logo. We're going to turn the lights on, and here we go. You might not pick it up on the camera because video cameras are terrible at actually portraying how light is on a layout, etc. But I find these a little bit bright. I'm going to go and show you some of the other function lights as well. You can turn the tail lights off, which is what you would do on a real loco if you had something coming in behind it. But we've got cab lights. We've got the high intensity headlamp, and also you can set the lights over to nighttime running, which is where they show us 2 markers on a 66, and obviously you've got your headlight on. But you can see that's all very, very bright, and so I want to really calm that down because it wouldn't really look like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to flip back to the screen, and I'm going to show you where you can alter those, and also another little funky thing you can do with the lights if you want to have a bit of a play around. So here we are, we're back at the advanced CV editor. Hopefully by now you've found your way around all these different pages and screens. Looking at the lighting area, which is from like CV 51 down to 58 on here. you'll see it's got lighting effect as well as lighting brightness. What's lighting effect? Well, we'll have a little look if you open that up. So this is for F0. So whenever you have a DCC locomotive, the industry standard is that function 0, or on my controller it's actually a light switch because it should always be lights. I know some people have gone off and done different things, but they're outside of the DCC family, shall we say. Okay, so with 0, it's just acting as a regular light, what you'd expect to see. But what if you wanted to do something a little bit more funky? Okay, we're going to set this to 4 and exit, and that was a single strobe. Let's flip back to the camera and see what that does. Okay, let's hit the lights and see what we've got. There you go, some madness for you if you want to do that. Really, really easy to do. You could set all your lights up to flash rather than, and there's various different selections of things. So that's how easy it is to make the lights do something different. You won't break it. LEDs do flash. When you look at them, you won't realize it. They're just flashing very, very fast. Okay, well, enough of the silliness. Let's be serious for once. And what we'll do is we'll go back and we'll reset this to a constant light, how we want it. But we will show you how to do the brightness. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to set my lights back to how they were. So I'm going to lighting effect, call that one up because that's the bit that was controlling that flashing jobby. Hit 0 and exit. So that's a constantly on light. But the brightness, you'll see we've got these other 4 areas here. So I can alter the brightness of the front light, and you can do that by dropping that down, and I'm going to drop mine down to 1. If you take it to 0, it'll just turn them off. Exit. I'm also going to adjust the rear. So when the red lights are showing, that would also drop those down. I'm going to drop that down to 1. I'm also, wrong one, exit. I'm also going to adjust the daytime, so the nighttime running, and the headlamp. There we go. So those are down. Now, word of warning, if you alter the lighting brightness, one thing you'll notice when you put cab lights on, both ends will come up. It's just something the way that these are programmed. So I don't know whether it's actually on the PCB. It could be because of the way the resistors are working on the PCB, and that's why it wants to light up both ends. But there we go. That's how we do it. So if I now come back to the screen, onto the drive screen there, what I'll do is I'll flip to camera and I will see if we can pick up any change. It certainly in real life looks very different, and I think a much more pleasing effect, but we'll see if it comes up on the screen. Right, we're back on the regular camera. Daylight's on. Let's go to the headlamp. That's a lot less crazy. And there's the nighttime. You see it's just turned one of those side light, one of the round lights off, and you've just got like those side marker lights. And if we do it with the cabs, you'll notice, as I said, they come on at both ends, and that's because I've altered the brightness of the overall lights. Now my control system, my trusty Dynamis, only goes up to 20 functions, and so things like the cab lights and the headlight, etc., I can't really access those. I keep looking around for a different control system, but I still haven't found anything that I like. But anyway, that's how we set the brightness, so you can have a play around with that. But what happens if you've been messing around with all the CVs and you get yourself into a right old pickle and you just don't know where you're going with it, and you want to just put it back to how the profile came? Well, we'll flip to the screen and I'll show you how you do it. It's really, really easy. So here we are. I'm going to take you from the drive screen and show you just how you get back to change everything to how that profile was when you first downloaded it, or it came preloaded. From this screen, hit Locomotive Settings, and up at the top, under 8, you'll see it says Manufacturer ID. Tap on that and you have a couple of options. As you can see, you could reset purely the sound volumes if you wished, or you can reset everything. For the sake of demonstrating it to you, I'm going to show you how you do all of them. So we hit all. It's going to ask me, do I want to do that really? Yes, I do. Everything's out of sync, so let's synchronize everything and make it all match up. Now you remember I set the global volumes to 21, I set my horns to 25, I did various things with the lights. Once this is refreshed, we'll just have a quick look on the volumes because that'll be a good indicator and that'll tell us what we've done. Something that I want to also highlight is if you look at number 1, locomotive short address has now been changed to 3, which is the standard generic address for a new decoder. But we'll see something when we get back to the drive screen. So that's changed it to number 3, so we know it's done all of that. If I go down to the volumes, global volume is now at 35 and every subsequent volume is as well. So all of those changes I made before have all been overwritten. And talking overwritten, we're going to go to the drive screen. In fact, no, we're not going to go to the drive screen, we're going to go to the data screen. Now, if you remember, the short address, it told me was 3. However, this screen has not written it back to 3. But if I come into here and remove those, it's got 3 underneath. What you need to do when you do a reset and you want to get back to your original setting, what you want the loco to be address-wise, so you can operate it with a traditional DCC system, you need to overwrite. So even though you've done a reset, and it might tell you it's 66 on there, you need to delete it and write it over, and then that's going to give you that. So that's how you can make some changes. Most of the CVs work in a very, very similar way, but these are really easy ones. They're fun. You can see and hear the changes you've made straight away. I think they're actually worth having a go with. It's a really powerful system once you get into it, and sometimes it's just a little bit of confidence, and I like to think being able to get back to where the whole thing was set originally so easily gives you that confidence to do it. You can't break it. So have a go, have a play. It's a nice short video for today. Remember, take care of yourselves, happy modelling, and we shall see you on the next video.